All right. Good Saturday morning, everybody. My name is John Newman. This is Hottie Hotline, episode 138. Sometimes we're not sure what episode we are on, but we've confirmed it is 138. I am joined this morning by Chris Harris, Dale Gum, and Deafness 45, Jeff Dinson. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning. We are 138. We are 138. We are. All right.
We are. I'm going to put in.
Misfits referencing, so.
I'm going to put in the chat room. If anyone wants to join the show, let me.
And again, guys, if you don't want to join or don't want to put your face on camera, even just the questions, comments in the chat, we'll try to touch on.
It's also, I also put it on the bottom of the screen there. And let's go back to comments and put it there.
Died this
No
morning.
way, really, Eric? That's got to be. That's legit. I don't think that would be a joke. I know Eric pretty well. I don't think he would.
I'm a Steeler fan. I have not heard that, but
hang on.
I'm not.
We got to check on that. That's big.
Holy crap, he did.
Is it real? Yeah, I
Adam
didn't think
Schefter reported it, so it must be real. Dwayne Haskins, standout at Ohio State, struggling to catch on with. Died this morning when he got hit by a car in South Florida. He would have turned 25 May 3rd.
Holy good grief! And I'm a Steelers guy, so that I know he hasn't played much for us as far as in actual game time, but you know, kind of hopeful this year.
Yeah,
that he might see the field, but wow, that's obviously terrible.
Kind of a downer to start our Saturday.
I was going to say, I don't know how you get. I don't know. We're going to do it, but it's going to be, that's a tough one to climb out of. But we got to keep going, right? We've learned that in life, and so condolences to the Haskin family, to the Steeler family. I'm a member of that as far as being a huge Steeler fan who goes to one or two games, it seems like, every year. And that one, I had no idea till E-Rock, like you said, breaking news.
E-Rock, you are Scheffler this morning.
Yeah, he's on top of stuff, and that's crazy. I'm waiting for
Schefter just reported it 5 minutes ago. So
yeah, I'm expecting my son to kind of go through the story. We're both huge Steeler guys, and he knows I'm doing this, but he'll still probably come in here and say, "Did you hear, Pop?" So don't be surprised if I get an unexpected visitor. But man, that's tragic news and stinks. But all right. Let's keep going. The first thing, guys, I wanted to talk about, it's baseball season, thankfully. For a while there, we weren't sure if we were going to get one on schedule, and here we are. And as we learned in the hobby, right, is, people are, what have you done for me lately? And this is not new to me. I've done this long enough, but it's become probably more of a phenomenon in the last couple of years, right? So Joe Adell, prospect, who hasn't really lit it up just yet, but everyone feels this year could be the year. He goes 0 for 3, his first game out of the box, and all the hobby hate comes, right? Oh, he's done. He's never going to pan out. I saw past his prime post. He's 24 years old. I like to be past my prime at 24, but so it's we've seen this. It's not relegated, guys, to just baseball. Everyone remembers Bol Bol's incredible scrimmage game, and everyone went out and was selling Bol Bols for ridiculous amounts of money. Have you heard of Bol Bol since that game? Me either. And so, one game, same thing in reverse, right? A guy goes 3 for 3 and he's in the Hall of Fame already. Like, you got to exude some patience. I made this graphic up. I'm going to I made this graphic that I made when this whole Joe Adele thing happen. Oh, where is it? Oh, right here. Let me uh let me take that down. There's Joe Adele
To Adele.
standing. You know, those history majors will recognize actually this picture from Tiananmen Square. But I use it as the hobby. We see the tanks represented as the hobby, and there's Joe Adele about to get run over potentially there. But that's where we are, guys. Like one game, one night. Um, and guys like bail on people. When Luis Robert got hurt last year, um, as we know, everyone kind of dumped him, or some people dumped him, and I actually bought some because of that. He's playing again. It's 2 games, but he's playing. He looks good early in this season. But when do you think that stops? I'm old school. I remember like even if a guy had a hot week and won like player of the week in whatever sport, I was like, and he wasn't proven yet. I'm like, he's got to continue to do that before I start acquiring a bunch of his cards. But we're past that point here in 2022. It's day trading. I know we talked before we kind of came on the air. Sports cards has become sort of day trading. The guy has a great night, and you get them all listed and sell while it's hot. And obviously, if a guy struggles, same thing. You might sell and dump or try to. And it's day trading. There's nothing wrong with day trading, but I'm doing this 30 something years. I'm in it for the long haul. So, when Bobo had that game, going back to him, I'm not going to lie about it. I didn't think he was very good. I just thought he had a good night. And so it was a perfect opportunity for me to sell. I didn't have a ton of Bobos. I don't want to make it sound like, but I sold the ones I had and kind of exited stage left. Probably a good decision as we see now. But what do you think it is? I call it the quick twitch. I put baseball hobbyists. I could probably take off baseball and just leave hobbyists up there. What do you think of this sort of kind of day trading way to approach cards?
I mean, I just think that again, it's just kind of where we're at with so many more collectors, investors, traders, if you will, in the hobby that we've continued to gain, and more people just looking at it more on the, not everybody, but people looking at it on a flip side, etc. I mean, that's just the way of the way of the new sports world. You know what I mean? I mean, we have a lot of top prospects making debuts this year, like top ranked prospects. One of the better years with top ranked prospects, like the Bobby Witts of the world, the Torkelsons, the J Rod shows, the Julio Rodriguez, and you only got one out of all those guys that had, if you'd call it a decent first day in their major league debut, with Bobby Witt getting that double, with that RBI double. And, what are people looking at as far as Rodriguez and Torkelson and everything else, just because they go 0 for 4 their first game, kind of like you're talking about Adele going, 0 for 3, 0 for 4. It's too early. I mean, and that's what John's making his point on. We can't sit here and dwell on one game, but a lot of people look at it like that. To John's point, people are like, let's get off this guy right away. You got to give it time. Like John was saying earlier, we have to have patience. You have to have patience with these guys. These kids are young, very young. And to the point of him bringing up Luis Robert, or when he got hurt, if it's not a career ending injury, if it's something they're going to come back at. But like John's point, he said earlier when we were talking, everybody looks at it like that. Oh, it's over.
Anytime,
he's never going to make a comeback.
Jeff, anytime someone gets hurt, it doesn't say career-ending injury, but people act as if every injury, sprained wrist, oh, it's over. He didn't get his wrist amputated. A sprained wrist, but people just, I don't know what it is. It's just panic selling, panic buying. You know, it's crazy. And you mentioned a great point with guys who made the cuts and are starting the season up. There's more coming. Adley Rushman
Yeah.
also made the Orioles. He's just, speaking of injury, he's got I believe it
Yep.
is a minor wrist injury. So soon as I think it's 7 days, he'll be back. He's going to make his major league debut at catcher for the Orioles, and he's their number 1 or number 2 prospect. And so, we can get into like, hey, so some of the products coming down the line, we're going to have some serious rookie clout, at least on paper.
Except for the fact that their rookie cards were in last year's Bowman's Best. But
yeah, but
got to point that
out. Well, they're good. Tops is going to put an RC logo on them, and then we can come back on Hobby Hotline and that debate on screen and in the chat room. But at least it's going to have some star power, some young star power clout. I'll put it in those terms. But yeah, you got and listen, Joe Adell, 24 years old. He went 0 for 3. I like Joe Adell. I have a lot of Joe Adell stuff. I give him time. This one game, no hits. Remember, a 300 average in baseball is pretty good, right? That means you made outs 7 out of 10 times. So, like, take a chill pill. Relax if you can. It's. But again, I'm not going to change the masses. I just wanted to touch on it with you guys this morning. That's
John,
where we're at.
Yeah, John, one thing to
Go
add.
ahead.
Like, there is so much you guys got to understand too. Like, in the sport of baseball, I play a lot of daily fantasy. It's such high variance, right? And to the point of a guy going 0 for 3, 0 for 4, the best hitters in baseball, their probability of going 0 for 4 versus getting a hit, a double, a triple, or a home run is much higher of them going into that game going 0 for 4. Because you got to remember, a batting average of 300, right? They're basically hitting 3 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like, these guys don't bat 700. These guys don't bat 800. They bat, a good player bats around 340, somewhere around there. Might be at close to 400 if they're on a good streak. But the variance of this and probabilities with baseball are so crazy that you can't give up on a guy just because he starts out slow and goes 0 for 3 or 0 for 4 in a game. It's crazy.
Yeah, one night does not make a career, bro. That's a line I always. I don't have to remind myself. I know it, but maybe some others need to remember. Go ahead, Chris.
You should see how some of these guys are doing a month from now before you pass judgment.
No doubt. Now, if Joe Adell, I'm using him sort of as the poster boy for this topic this morning. That's why I keep going back. If Joe Adell's batting 125, like Chris said, after about a month, then I can see maybe some people say, "Hey, he's just not what we thought he was, or what scouts thought he was."
He's on the first bus back to Fresno or wherever
a much larger sample size. Yep.
Yeah, that'll entertain more than after one night. And it wasn't one post. It was a good handful of posts about Joe Adell after 1 0 for 3 night. I just laughed. I chuckled to myself, like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, you think these guys put enough pressure on themselves? Because I hope they don't read hobby Twitter or Instagram, because they really would start to feel the heat and probably struggle even more. All right, so the big news, I think, of the week, guys, is WWE Prism. We're seeing crazy prices. This is not the first ever, WWE card, so it's not like it's everybody's rookie. I mean, there are rookies in it. There's the box the box itself, but boxes. Last time I checked this morning, I believe boxes, sealed boxes over 4 figures, over $1,000. We've seen this with F1 this year. We've seen this with UFC. Even a UFC second year box was $900. Not even the first edition in 2021. What do you? I mean, obviously WWE is a very popular sport, but I mean, what do you think of some of these out of the gate products commanding these prices?
I think it speaks to the power of the Prism brand name more than anything else. I think if Panini were to come out with, as their first product out of the gate, I don't know, WWE Donruss or WWE Playoff, I don't think we'd be seeing this. I think they actually just announced this week that their second product is going to be WWE Revolution, which kind of an off-brand. You're not going to see this kind of a reaction to that, to Revolution, the way you're seeing with Prism. And the thing is, you mentioned Formula One cards. I kind of see how WWE Prism is going to be what Formula One has been over the last year and a half. You've seen a lot of people that really don't follow the sport get into it. There's not a day that goes by.
I mean, Chris, I know
that goes by on my Twitter
money
feed
involved.
where I see something, where I see a post saying, I bought into a Formula One break a couple of months ago. I have no idea who these guys are. Make me an offer. Posts like that. And I think you're seeing a lot of people that don't follow wrestling, mostly getting in on the Prism name, buying in and driving the prices of these cards up. So
there's something that helped drive those prices up too. Someone who has some influence in the hobby, and he was really more or less just doing it for fun on his side of things, but he had gotten a case of that, I guess, early. He went to his local card shop and he got it a day or two early. And if you're on Twitter, you probably saw it, but it was a pretty big wave on Twitter. And he pulled the John Cena color blast, and he posted it on. He did a post on eBay and he listed it at $50,000. And some people took that as, this guy's crazy. He's really trying to sell this thing for $50K. But in reality, he just put it up there just to see what would happen, because he really didn't want to sell it. He doesn't want to sell it. He's a big fan of the sport, big fan of the product. He's excited about it. He just simply put it up there, but you're getting some people that don't look into things properly. They're influenced the wrong way. And now all of a sudden you're getting, like you said, you're getting a lot more people into this excitement around WWE, more for the Prism name, but also probably for the money, because they think, whoa, crap, what's going on here? I mean, the product literally jumped, I think, $200 to $300 a box overnight. I mean, it was pretty quick. And you're seeing, I know I touched on this in our chat, you see the timeline just flooded with WWE talk. Yeah. Are they going to come out with retail? What's going to happen here? I mean, for people who can't afford hobby, etc., it's insane. And
that, I'm a kids in the hobby guy, maybe to almost a fault, Jeff and Chris, but there's a lot of kids that love WWE. Can you imagine, like, hey, Dad, hey, Mom,
can I kids get a buying box? This though?
Yeah, can I get a box of Prism? Sure, son. Where do I order it for you? And then they go, then they go online and they see the sticker price, right, or the what it's going to cost them. Like, no way. Like, and I get it. The market, sets the price. People are paying this for it, so that's what the price is. But like Chris said, I think a couple things at play here. You got Prism, which kind of speaks for itself. It's got its own reputation. Those color blasts, as Jeff alluded to, are rare and super popular, and really an attractive looking card. I mean, that doesn't hurt its case either when they're good looking, insert or parallel, and hard to get. And we're just, but like you said, Jeff, you went to sleep. And if you're sitting on some of these boxes, I wasn't, so I'm not talking about myself. But if you were and you woke up the next day and you had, let's say, 10 of these boxes on your shelf, you just made $3,000 by going to sleep. Not a bad gig if you can get it. But I just look like long term, like I'm not, no one's guaranteed to be here in 4 years, myself included, but like 4 years from now is what are going to, these prices be? Can this maintain it? It's not, the first WWE products, not like an initial complete new to the industry. It's just Panini's first release, and like you said, I'm sure it wasn't by accident. They're like, hey, let's come out like gangbusters and put it on Prism rather than, like Chris said, Donruss or another line, Select, or whatever else direction they'll go. I mean, those brands will come out, but they're not. It's like doing the Masters as the first event of the golf season, right? Or the Daytona. NASCAR does that with the Daytona 500, come out with a bang. So brilliant marketing on Panini's part, and then we find out while we're talking about WWE, well, we find out this week that they just got this license, right? And the timing of this is odd. I have a theory. I want to see what you guys, Jeff and Chris, and you guys out there in chat room, Fanatics announces that when Panini's license with WWE expires in a couple years, they've already negotiated that contract. It'll be them taking over, and we've seen that with Topps, the Topps licensing and Fanatics with baseball. These companies are negotiating the next deal with years left on the current one. I don't like that. That's sort of a new thing. It used to be you negotiated deals, a new deal when your current deal was in its last year to see where you were going to go next. I kind of look at it like players, right? You have a 3-year deal with a team. You're not negotiating with the next team in the first year of your new 3-year deal. You negotiate when you're a free agent officially. So this is sort of different. My theory, guys, with this is that, let me put this up. It's just like Fanatics acquired Topps. I think they try, and again, I'm not getting this info. This is solely opinion based. It's all speculation. No one told me anything. I don't have any insider. I didn't even get something where sometimes I'll be told something and someone will say, like, that's for you to know, John. Do not talk. I didn't even get any of that kind of stuff. But my theory is this: Fanatics, much like they acquired Topps, tried to acquire Panini, and maybe it didn't go as well. The deal didn't go down as of yet. And maybe Fanatics said, you know what? All right, you don't want to sell to us. We'll just steal your thunder while you're still alive. We'll make life sort of difficult with you. So that's just one theory I'm floating out there. Conspiracy theorist that I am. Fanatics maybe tried to acquire Panini, didn't work out as of yet, and says, all right, well, we'll just take all your brands. We'll just make those announcements now that you won't be getting those back anyway, including, and again, I'm not a soccer expert, but it was announced this week that UEFA, the soccer league, I believe, is going to go Fanatics / Topps way once their contract is up. And so Panini's losing that as well. They will make the World Cup cards that they still have for the time being. But any thoughts to that? Is there any kind of business chess being played, if you will, behind the scenes?
Well,
that's what go ahead, Chris.
I think this has less to do with the trading card license and more to do with Fanatics' other business deals in merchandising. I think this has more to do with Fanatics taking over the WWE's merchandising platform. The WWE has been really dating back to the 80s, really one of the pioneers in the direct-to-consumer marketing and licensing. They've designed a lot of their own merchandise. They've manufactured a lot of it. They've distributed a lot of it. They fulfilled a lot of orders with that. During the Attitude Era, they sold millions of Austin 316 t-shirts, and they made them all They ship them all. They process the orders for them all. I think that this is now really a deal where they now outsource that to Fanatics, a lot like other professional leagues have done. And the trading card rights, that's kind of just thrown in at the end, because I don't think Panini's deal with WWE doesn't expire until 2027.
Is it that long? I thought it was a couple years. I'm not saying you're wrong.
I've read either 26 or 27. So I think what this deal has more to do with is Vince McMahon is 76 years old, and he's not going to run the company forever.
Are you sure?
Yes, he is 76.
No, I know.
But the long-term succession of the company, I think, is being planned for the last couple of years. I think it had been thought that eventually Triple H and Stephanie McMahon would take over the company when Vince either retires or dies. But a couple of years ago,
probably dies. I think.
Yeah. Well, his mother lived to be 101, so that may be a while's.
That's what I'm saying. He's going to run it until he's like 99.
He's going to run it until he dies. But
he's going to be the Joe Paterno of WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you read some of the tea leaves, and if you read a lot of the dirt sheets that are out there, like Dave Meltzer's Wrestling Observer, they may be looking to cash out before Vince McMahon dies, and they may be looking to sell the company to another entertainment conglomerate. And by outsourcing their merchandising to Fanatics now, this may make the company as a whole more appealing to an outside buyer.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's something I thought about even with UFC and Dana White. I mean, that I'm not talking about the cards.
Will they buy?
I'm talking about the
WWE?
product itself, the UFC. I mean, what if Dana White says, "Hey, I'm selling the UFC. Put your bids in." You know, I mean, what could he get for that? And at some point, you know, you build that brand up. You want to sort of get rewarded for your work in terms of dollar signs. You know, Dana White's not super young, but he's also not super old. If I'm him, I mean, it's easy for me to say because I'm not, but if I'm him, I'm like, I might cash out now and enjoy the rest of my 20, 30 years and you know, do whatever I want to do without having to be sort of attached. I mean, he's not hurting for money now, so it's not where he's going from rags to riches, but he'll be going from riches to more riches and not have to be sort of locked into that business. He can do something else.
We're talking about a guy who worked through the pandemic and told everybody we're not stopping. I don't think this guy wants a vacation anytime soon. And honestly, in my opinion, if there was a company or something on Chris's route of saying, hey, looking to maybe sell out the WWE or the wrestling side of things, I could see a company like UFC being one that'd be a player in buying the WWE.
Imagine that.
Or a multimedia company like NBC Universal or Fox, or even something like Madison Square Garden Entertainment buying them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
No, Chris, I like your points.
Yeah. Comment from Logan, getting back to the card side, not liking the direction Fanatics is steering hobby. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of getting the same sort of vibe. Like anytime, you know, somebody wants to dominate a space, it usually doesn't end well. Traditionally, if you look at, you know, things from the past, when someone sort of controls the majority of the pieces on the board, it's not a good thing for the people who don't. It's not a good thing for the consumers, and they're paying. You know, I say this on my show all the time, guys. You know, Fanatics is not getting this licensing in these deals for cheap. These deals they're buying are costing them millions, if not billions of dollars. Who pays that they pay it up front, right? Who pays it on the back end? Hi, hold your hand up. It's us. And so, they're not, it's not like they're making uh cheap deals where we get cheap products. So, and they're going to be the only game in town if things keep trending the way they're going. And you're not going to not having a lot of options is not a good thing as a
No.
consumer. And so you got to keep that in mind. I hope, I said when the whole deal first broke with Topps losing their licensing, I'm like, I just hope Fanatics keeps the consumer end at the forefront of their mind. But I'm starting to think that maybe while might have been initially the case, I don't feel like it's the long term it's the number one thing on their list. I think the number one thing on their list is domination. They're very cutthroat. We've seen this announcing deals that you have while someone else has the current deal is just kind of cutthroat. No other way to put it. And business is cutthroat. I get it. They don't have to play nice, but I think it foreshadows a lot of what we're going to see. And so, if for those who think the hobby might get more affordable, I'm worried that it's not. And I'm going to do a show here soon on Hobby Quick Hits about we're almost dealing with two hobbies now, guys. I don't know if you agree with this. We have this sort of high end space and then everybody else. And I think the problem and I get that, not everyone's millionaires or billionaires and they have their own sandbox that they play in and everyone else has their, but there's a real big divide between that where those people there don't care about the everyone else and the everyone else sort of look snobbily at the higher end folks that are in and that is creating a little friction, and that's where I see sort of the hobby is and continuing to go that way. And I don't think that's a good thing. And we'll see. Any thoughts, Jeff, Chris?
Well, I mean, I think you're hitting it right on the head. I see that same thing, and I don't know how often you guys look around on different like selling app platforms as far as like I know not everybody's into breaks and breaking and whatever, but I'm going to bring this up real quick. Since Whatnot has kind of came into the scene, that Whatnot app, or since it's become more of a popularity or a space for people to go to maybe get into breaks and whatnot, you are seeing, like you talk about, a higher end. You're seeing breaks on this app that are like going for $800, $1,200 a spot in a break where they're doing these flawless with 2 boxes of Immaculate, with Prism Hobby, multi-sport, whatever it might be. And you're seeing it over and over and over and over again. And I think that's a big part to what John's saying, where we have this split of this high end and this, the lower end deal, where I'm kind of like that dollar bin guy box, right? Like I'm the guy that enjoys the smaller cards. If I'm going into auctions or live auction rooms or whatever and trying to buy cards, I'm looking for the cards that are going for the $1, $2, $5, $10. I'm not looking for the cards that are going for 500, 1,000, etc. But you're seeing that as well on the auction side. So again, as this Whatnot app kind of takes off, and it really did, I think Whatnot kind of blew up faster than the app thought it was going to, because it wasn't set up for the amount of volume it was doing. They had to make a lot of changes very quick. I mean, they didn't have like really a very good chat. They didn't have a lot of things that they had to adapt to kind of on the run. So yes, I'm seeing it in different aspects as well of the hobby, different areas where you're seeing this insane amount of very high end, high dollar sales, breaks, etc. So, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, everything old is new again, right? I mean, I heard as a kid in the 80s a lot of these same complaints. Who's going to spend $5,000 on a Mickey Mantle baseball card from 1952? Rich people. Oh, what about me? We think that.
But I will say this, Chris.
A stratified hobby, that this is a new phenomenon.
I will
It's always
say this.
been this way.
It has, Chris, but I want to get your take on it. I think you hit it exactly in the head. But I felt, Chris, back then, and you tell me if you agree or disagree. Even though there was that sort of caste system, if you will, uh, it all felt like we were still in the one hobby. There might have just been levels to it. I don't feel that in today's. I almost said game. I guess I can. In today's hobby game, I almost feel like that high end level, which is like you just pointed out, has always existed. It's just more dollar values now. But I almost feel like that it's a separate thing. It's a separate entity to itself. Where even before in the past, it was still part of one big hobby. I almost feel like it's two separate hobbies. And Logan Ward, a comment here I want to put. Will there come a day when collecting cards ceases to be a hobby? I mean, you can make the argument for some. It's already there, right? It's a business. I mean, there's people. I'm a dealer. I set up at shows, but I also collect cards. But I think to some, it's just about, hey, I want to make this much today. And there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's not illegal. It's capitalism at its finest. But that's when I think it ceases to be a hobby. That's just a business. Kevin Jones, I've said it before. Fanatics aims to be the Amazon of the sports collectibles apparel marketplace, and they will be. I agree. I think that is the perfect symbiology is Amazon. They want to sort of be the world dominator. They want to try to get you, I don't think there's going to be a Fanatics Prime where you get your stuff the very next day, but they probably want to get your stuff, as quick in your hands as possible. They want to do everything. We heard early on, they sort of backed off the grading stuff, but early on there was talk they wanted to get into the grading space. They've sort of backpedaled a little there, but they haven't backpedaled on any of the other stuff as far as doing everything. They're going to have a vault. Everyone has a vault now. I have a vault. I just haven't announced it yet. But it's called the safe, but I'm kidding. But everyone's doing the vault thing. There's going to be, a Fanatics vault. They might not get into the grading, but might they buy a grading company? There's talk about CSG, being sold to them. I've heard even SGC in that rumor, but I'd be surprised by that. But again, nothing should surprise us anymore. So yeah, Fanatics is that's a great analogy with Amazon. I think that's exactly sort of the model that they're trending to be like. Your guys' thoughts on that from Kevin Jones' comment?
I mean, yeah, exactly. I don't know if there's much more to touch on from it. I think you kind of hit it on. I mean, and again, going back to, competition is a good thing. Having the ability to have different options is a good thing. So in my opinion, I agree on the John side earlier. Like he said, I don't, Fanatics kind of going after everything and being involved in everything and trying to get licensing from everywhere, I don't think is a good look, in my opinion, or is good for us. But that's my opinion. So, Chris?
Yeah, we've kind of, ever since the hobby went to exclusive licensing about a dozen or so years ago, we've had to put up with, well, I'm just a baseball collector, so I'm only speaking for Topps, but a lot of mediocre products at best over the last dozen years. And now with Fanatics in charge, I don't really see much of a change. No reason to compete and innovate when there is no competition. So
yeah, it's funny. We got Brad in the green room. I'm about to bring him on. He's at a card show. I just want to add this. A few years back, I'm guilty of this myself, so I'm throwing myself a little bit on his breast. Right? We all were like, "Hey, we want to see Topps do other sports again, right? Topps football. We want Topps basketball. Maybe and." In a way, we're going to get that wish, but not in the natural, organic way we were hoping it would happen. Now, what's going to happen with another company actually getting that licensing and then acquiring Topps. And it feels, I don't know, to me, it just feels a little bit not shady, and nothing shady, but just not as clean, not as organic as if Topps just worked out those deals themselves. And so while in the end we're sort of getting the same result, the way it's going to happen is just not the way we wanted it to. And I think that's going to be the big difference. And like we've all talked about, anytime you have one company sort of controlling the whole market, we're all the marionettes, right? We're all on the puppets on the string. I don't think that's a good thing. And when we're talking about billions of dollars, they're going to do us no favors. The biggest favor we'll get is good looking cards and great designs, but that's about the best we might get. So Brad left. He was in the room. I guess I made him wait too long. He had connection problems. Maybe he'll jump back in. Here's another. Let's go on to the next topic. Bowman University was announced by Fanatics / Topps. Let me put a picture up of what that product box wise looks like. There you go. It's a football release. It's along with the name, image, and likeness lines. These are college players that will soon be NFL players once this draft takes place. I had an opportunity to buy this before it came out to the general public. I believe, don't quote me, I believe the SRP was $150 a box, but I didn't buy any. Reason being, speaking for myself, is what do we know about football, right? It's a quarterback driven hobby, a quarterback driven product, and I'm a huge football guy. I do rough in the passer. I watch a lot of college football. This year's rookie quarterback class is not great, at least on paper. They haven't played at the next level yet, but by projections and me following it, I'm just not that impressed with it, and that's what will drive this product. And so I'm like, not going to do it. And then when I thought about this product again, doing the whole Fanatics, Ford versus Ferrari, Fanatics versus Panini thing here, is it's a way for them to make right some football. These have first Bowmans on them, so every card in here is going to have a first Bowman. We're all familiar with the first Bowman logo, and many, we'll talk about rookie debate. Now that'll be the debate, like is this Malik Willis's rookie, or will it be the Panini football release, the rated rookie or the Prism rookie? I really think, again, this might be Fanatics' way of saying, hey, Panini. Again, I know some of these products are in development for months, if not even longer. But this is sort of as a way for Fanatics to say, okay, you don't want to sell to us, Panini. We're going to make your guys before you do. Even though you have the NFL license for the time being, guess what? Here's your Malik Willis rookie, hobby public. Here's your Spencer Rattler. Here's your Pickett, Kenny Pickett rookies. Get them now. You don't have to wait for Panini later this year. And so I kind of steered clear of this, but I'm sure it's sold. I haven't checked secondary prices, but I mean, your thoughts on this product in general, and if there's any kind of what I alluded to, you think there's any other motives involved here with a product like this?
Well, a couple things. So, one, if this product would have came out or released a couple years earlier, I think we would have been talking much differently. There might have probably been a lot more excitement or hype over this, right? With the quarterback classes that are coming in from the draft, et cetera. You hit on it. We don't have a very exciting quarterback class this year. We have one quarterback in most mocks, everything you're seeing out there in the draft that's going to be drafted top 10. But on the other side, it's another one of those we don't know, right? It's kind of a prospecting thing like we are on the baseball side. So if you're somebody that's big into prospecting, if you're somebody that's big into taking shots, chances, risks, could there be that Tom Brady that we're not seeing right now that comes out in a couple years that's drafted late that ends up being one of the greatest or a great top tier quarterback? Possibly. But I mean, those are the types of shots, chances you got to take. Again, if I think this product was released a couple years ago where we had multiple top 10 quarterbacks drafted, people would be raving about this product. But this year, right, the draft it's not looking good on the quarterback side, which again in the hobby is quarterback heavy. So, Chris?
Well, I think, John, you mentioned these cards aren't licensed by the NFL.
Right.
So that's a big strike against this product. These cards also are not licensed by, I forget the name of the college licensing. College licensing, I think that's the name of it.
Yeah.
These aren't college licenses.
College or collegiate, yeah.
So they're all in airbrushed generic uniforms, which...
But Fanatics is trying to offset that, Chris, and you know where I'm going here with this, with putting that first Bowman, right? When anyone sees first Bowman, right, are just our minds think of too like the baseball prospects.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is their first ever card because Bowman puts players from the draft on the card. Wander Franco's first Bowman is going to be, if he turns out to be as advertised, it's going to be a very hot in demand. It already is. It's going to be even more so if that turns out to be the case. And so I think they're even though it's a football product, they're trying to take some of that baseball pedigree and use that first Bowman logo on it. I agree. I don't think this product's going to be great. Hence the reason I didn't buy it. But what I think will happen is, let's just take Malik Willis, who is what most pundits feel is the best quarterback prospect in this draft class. That remains to be seen, but until we play games, that's where we're at. Let's say Malik Willis turns out to be, a superstar in the NFL. I think what will happen then is people will kind of go back to this product. Then the price may go up because there are autograph cards, there are parallels. I think they're gold parallel. There's all the bells and whistles that a good product has. I think it'll take one of these guys, actually performing and well for people to kind of go back and say, hey, there's Malik Willis gold autos in this stuff. I think the product will until then will sort of settle down into a lower price point, and then maybe other people will buy it at that lower price point, hoping that one of those guys hits the big time, and then they can pull those boxes out of storage and say, hey, that Malik Willis guy that just made his second Pro Bowl looks like all world. He's got all sorts of colored autos in this product, and I have some boxes. Here's the price. That's what I think this product becomes, but it has to be
prospectors. Yeah, prospecting.
Yeah.
People like to prospect. I mean, that's what it is. And again, you're going back, John, the first Bowman or whatever. So going back to Malik Willis, yes, if he takes off, people want that first card of that player that's going off. People start looking for it, searching for it, want to buy it. So yes, I agree. Yep.
And it's just interesting with, at least my take on the whole, Fanatics versus Panini thing. And again, that's all speculation on my part. I don't have any sort of inside info or anything like that. It's just a feeling, a gut hunch, if you will. That could be completely wrong. But that being said, I mean, what better way for Fanatics to sort of, say, hey, look, you got the NFL license, but we got the players on cards before you will have them with a Panini logo on it. We'll have a Bowman logo on it. And it will be, regardless of where the sentiment is, no one can argue it'll be the first Malik Willis, the first Kenny Pickett card on the public hobby market, and get it here while it's hot. That's where they're going to plant their flag. And now it'll be up to the general hobby public how much they buy into that sort of rhetoric or statement, if you will. And so I think it's gonna, to be a product. I think at first, people will buy it, and then I think it'll sort of cool off, and then it's going to take one of those players in the product to really perform very, very well for people to backtrack and say, "Oh yeah, I remember that product. I better, see if I can scarf up some boxes of it before the price increase." And I will see. Again, the public holds that power to whether they buy in. We talked about why WWE Prism's over $1,000 because that's what people are paying for. Now, whether those people are breakers or 10-year-old Jimmy in Des Moines, Iowa, more probably the breakers, obviously, but it's still exchanging hands at that price. And so the public is going to really be the final verdict on this product. My vote is just one. I voted no, but that's just one vote in a million. So we'll see.
We've had. I mean, the idea of an unlicensed or partially licensed draft picks product really isn't new.
No, it isn't.
In the 90s, Classic, their whole business model was partially licensed draft pick products.
Classic, Front Row. Remember Front Row? We had Front Row.
How in demand are those products now?
I still got in my garage. I think I still got like boxes with probably 5 or 6 of those.
Was there any autos? Any of those though? I don't know. You could get any.
I think in later products there were autographs.
Yeah, some of the
they weren't easy to find though.
Yeah, they weren't in that. It wasn't like one auto per set type of deal.
There were maybe like 2 or 3 players that may have signed.
Yeah,
Classic an autograph for like every third or fourth case or something.
Every millionth case.
Yeah.
And I remember the basketball. The Classic did a basketball one, and they had some autos in there. And every one I saw coming out, this will tell you, was John Crotty autos. Remember John Crotty? Look him up. Those that don't know who John Crotty is, look Google John Crotty. Go to eBay and put John Crotty in your search bar and see what those are going for now. But
getting back to my point, those classic sets really aren't in demand now, but maybe the Bowman brand is kind of will give this product a little more cachet to it. Me personally, I am kind of skeptical, but
I agree. I think that first Bowman, at least on the auto side for some of these guys, is going to be either the make or breaker, depending upon how this draft class works out, and again, it's looking like it's going to be a different style of draft.
Like 2013 again, where EJ Manuel was the first quarterback off the board, and
oh god,
9 of the top 10 picks were offensive and defensive linemen.
Yeah, and I want to piggyback. What show is going to talk about John Crotty and EJ Manuel literally 2 minutes within each other? You don't get that.
Get your money's worth with us.
Yeah. We need to start charging admission around here.
It's easy to talk about LeBron James and LaMelo Ball, but you're not going to get John Crotty and EJ Manuel just anywhere except here. All right, guys, we're coming up at the top of the hour. The National is fast approaching, guys. I'm getting excited as each day closer. We're really just probably about 3 months, almost a little over 3 months out. Chris broke this story to us in the Hobby Hotline chat. Obviously, this year's National is Atlantic City. Those that are a little bit familiar with Atlantic City know it sometimes can be tricky to get there with transportation in the airports, but there's going to be an American Airlines bus. I'm actually going to put it on the screen here. There it is. You can ride that bus to Atlantic City. If I'm guessing, Chris,
not directly to Atlantic City, to the Atlantic City Airport, which is 10 miles away.
This is only
basically you could fly into Philadelphia, and they're going to run, I think, 3 buses in each direction to and from the Atlantic City Airport. If you're going after the National, you'll be able to actually check in and go through security in Atlantic City, then board the bus, and then go up to the Philadelphia airport. Yeah, a lot of people, when we hear that the Nationals in Atlantic City this year, and it's not drivable for people who have to fly in, the complaint is, how do I get to Atlantic City from Philadelphia? And this is another option. It's you still have to maybe get an Uber or rent a car to drive that last 10 miles, but you'll be able to take a bus to Atlantic City a little easier. You can also take the train too.
Yeah, there is a train. There is a train.
And the train in Atlantic City, the terminal is in the same building as the convention center where the NSCC is located. So you could fly to Philadelphia, take the SEPTA train to 30th Street Station, which is the main train station in Philadelphia, and then take the Atlantic City train, the New Jersey Transit Atlantic City train, directly to the National site. And it's also an option if you find, because getting a hotel in Atlantic City, it's expensive, especially on the weekends. But you could stay in Philadelphia, you could stay in Cherry Hill, you could stay along the line. It's a little cheaper than Atlantic City on the weekend. It's another option. It's not as frequent, though. I think it only runs maybe once an hour during rush hour and then every other hour off peak. But
now this
option.
Bus, Chris, I'm putting the graphic back up. You can't fly in on like Southwest, let's say. I'm just making up, or Delta.
No, it's American Airlines, but Philadelphia is a hub for American Airlines.
Okay,
so if you have American Airlines in your city, you should be able to get either a nonstop or direct flight into Philadelphia. You then, without having to check out of security, you can then take the bus to Atlantic City Airport and then Uber it or taxi into Atlantic City.
Yeah. So might we see our first trade bus where everyone on the bus has got their cases out and having we have trade nights? Might we have our first, national trade bus?
Maybe.
But at least it's one more thing that might make it convenient to
another way of making it
yeah. Definitely doesn't hurt. It might solve some people's travel issue. I'm staying at 3.5 miles from the convention center in Ventnor Beach. We rented a beach house, and my wife's actually going. Some of the Hobby Hotline guys are staying with us, but my wife could care less about cards. She's going to be on the beach with a beverage and an umbrella and a book while the rest of us get to the show. But you mentioned a good point. Even Uber, depending on how far away you are from the show, Uber and there's ways to get there.
And a lot of the casinos, if you're staying at a casino, they actually run shuttle buses from the casinos to the train station, which is also the site of the National. So you might save a few bucks there. So
the moral of the story is, if you have any travel questions, email Chris at
South Jersey native here. So
you just found yourself another profession. Travel advisor.
Travel agent. Yeah.
But hey, we're but that being said, we're about a little over 3 months out. Chris, have you ever? I know you've been in Atlantic City. Have you ever been to Atlantic City for a national?
I've been to 3 Atlantic City Nationals.
For those of us, myself included, who've never been to an Atlantic City National, just give us some perspective of the differences, or even any tips, or how might it be different than if we've attended a national somewhere else. What maybe things
Well,
to
first of
expect.
all, it is a large hall. It's 1 million
Yeah.
square feet.
Wow.
And unlike the hall reminds me a lot of the IX Center, just without the Ferris wheel in the middle. It's all one room. So unlike in Baltimore where the hall was L-shaped, or the Stevens Center where you have that ramp that goes into those other rooms where they have the they have the autograph areas. It's just one big 1 million square foot room.
Wow.
As far as, I mean, it's the casinos are mostly by the boardwalk.
Yeah.
And a lot of the hotels are part of the casinos. This is right as you enter the city. So it's about 5 or 6 blocks from Caesars, which is the closest casino to the convention center. Atlantic City is not the kind of place where you want to walk the streets at night. Trust me. So a shuttle or an Uber to get, if you're staying in town, is critical.
Yeah.
The parking garage, if you're coming from out of town, is about 3 blocks away. Again, at night, that could get a little sketchy because you also have to cross over the Atlantic City Expressway where it ends and becomes Missouri Avenue. So that's, it could be sketchy. The place to eat, you have to eat at the White House. It's called the White House Sub Shop. You can get a hoagie, you can get a cheesesteak.
Any rumor that Donald Trump makes your sandwich for you at the White House?
No, Donald Trump pulled out of Atlantic City years ago.
I know.
In fact, one of the sites you will
Chris.
see,
I had to do it.
if you're coming in off the Atlantic City Expressway, you will see the remains of the Trump Plaza parking garage. And you might be able to see where the letters T, R, U, M, and P were on the garage. It's vacant. It's derelict. Kind of a metaphor for the man himself. I'm just saying. But there's not much of Trump left in Atlantic City. So
yeah. Now you mentioned the hall itself, 1 million square feet. For those of us that just went to Chicago, might this, obviously we don't know the floor plan, we don't know what they might be adding for vendors or corporate. Might this feel more airy? Like, will there be more space to?
It's a lot more space, yeah, and the ceilings are a lot higher as well.
Yeah.
So
maybe I should bring my drone, Chris. What do you think?
Maybe.
So, well, Chris, number one, thank you for sharing some of your insight.
One more question in the chat. You could take a train from Newark, but it's like 3 or 4 trains. You got to take.
Jeez.
Yeah, just fly into Philadelphia, or if you fly into Newark, you're probably going to have to rent a car to get here. So
yeah. Well, I'm coming from Syracuse, so I'm going to be driving. So
it's drivable.
That's nice. I can bring more stuff than I traditionally do when I fly. Like last year to Chicago, I'm a one bag guy, and so you're limited to, I do the old roll up my clothes to try to get as much into that one bag as I can. But now I'll have the luxury of kind of bringing what I want to and being in a house rather than a hotel as well. So I'm looking forward to it. We're with the whole COVID pandemic, I think we're on the right side of that, where there should be no issues. Most of us remember that when the National got postponed, that was in Atlantic City National. They are now getting it back, and I've been to Atlantic City, but never for a National, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do there. Chris makes a good point. Not the world's safest city, so just due diligence there. Be smart, and should be okay. But hey, we're one day closer. I'm assuming. Are we all going? That's on the screen here.
Not
Jeffrey going?
sure. Probably not this year. Probably not.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully, maybe we see you. But where's it next year? Chicago again, or is it Cleveland?
Chicago. I'll be
Back
in
to
Chicago
Chicago.
for sure.
All right. So we'll see you for sure next year, but we'll see you here and everywhere else as well. And so there we're up. We're about out of time. I want to thank everyone in the chat room. Chris, thank you for filling in a lot of blanks on travel to the national. I got a feeling you might get a few DMs asking you for additional
Yeah,
information.
I mean, if you have any questions about Atlantic City, just my Twitter feed is at Stale Gum.
If you want to book anything, it's at Stale Gum Travel.
Yes, they'll come.
Yeah.
There you go. We just created a
Travel
business.
Agency.
We just created a business for Chris. But next, we'll be back here on this very program on Tuesday night. We have baseball collector Mike Moynihan and 1 Million Cubs, Bo Thompson. And if my schedule allows, I might even drop in on that broadcast as well. So, with that being said, for Jeff and Chris, again, thanks for watching. As always, the audio version of this comes out the following day. So, if you missed our ugly mugs today, you can just hear the audio version the following day, and we'll be back on Tuesday and then again next Saturday as usual as well. Thanks, everybody.
Keep on rocking in the free world.
I'm going to play the outro after. I knew Chris was going to say that. So take care, everybody.